So shortly after making my review of the critically acclaimed Bumblebee, the movie was released in China, which kicked its struggling box office up into decent numbers, currently sitting at 459 million. So now it's undeniable that it's somewhat of a hit. So yes, I know now. So feel free to stop telling me in my review that I made in December. I got it, fellas. I pay attention to the news. And speaking of news, it was recently confirmed that Bumblebee is a reboot. And I get that there are still Bayformer fans, and they feel a bit cheesed that the designs are now different and that they won't wrap up the Unicron story set up in the last night. But to that, I'll just say,
what's the big fucking deal, bitch? Yeah.
Sure, the action could be fun at times. Yes, some of the designs were great. But no story, no continuity, and just this.
I'm sorry, babe. They were very rude, alright?
It had been stretched out so much. Transformers 1 to 5 has a total runtime of 12 hours and 41 minutes, which is just 20 minutes short of a full season of Daredevil. So yeah, plenty of Michael Bay storytelling, plenty of it. Overflowing, one would say.
Because I'm not a first-generation Transformers fan. I think I was a little old for them.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Those movies are just nothing, but so much nothing at once. And now there can be a great, fresh, new direction to head in. At the moment, I'm starting to think they should keep building slowly. The highlights of Bumblebee were the scenes on Cybertron. Now, I think it would be good to not just overstuff Bumblebee 2 with every single Transformers character possible. Gradual building would be ideal. Currently in development are Bumblebee 2 and an apparent Optimus Prime solo movie, as well as an animated prequel exclusively set on Cybertron. Nothing's confirmed on that yet, whether it's going to be a super detailed CGI animated movie, or a simpler looking style like Transformers Prime, or if they're just going to pull a fast one on us and say the upcoming Transformers Siege War for Cybertron trilogy will end up being the prequel, but who knows. But as for Bumblebee 2, you can still bring back Charlie despite them parting ways at the end. Charlie and Bumblebee have a really strong friendship connection that was really fun to watch grow. Also, she isn't the reason for Bumblebee coming to Earth. When you have the Transformers come to Earth specifically to find Sam Witwicky for his glasses, then yeah, there's no use for him onwards. So they had to awkwardly make him a part of the stories for the next 2 movies. And then they just got rid of him completely. But Charlie and Bumblebee became friends regardless of the Cybertron connection. At the end of Bumblebee, there were 7 asteroids heading towards Earth. Other Autobots to meet up with Bee and Optimus, who had already landed on the planet. Also have one of them be Ratchet and have him fix Bumblebee's goddamn voice. No more radio voice, please. He spoke at the start of the movie and it was fine.
That's not the Air Force.
So my prediction is it'll be a bigger story with more Autobots. They'll be like learning Earth's culture with Bumblebee as their guide, who can teach them how to have some 80s fun. You can have Decepticons arrived who follow those Autobots to Earth, get in Soundwave and Starscream, start bringing in the classics. And get Optimus out of there. Give him other business elsewhere. Because if they want to make this Optimus Prime solo movie, have him leave and do his own thing. And to what his movie will be, anything can happen. But now sort of brings in the opportunity of ripping off Marvel's formula. And what I mean is, where they have solo movies that build slowly to something, and then there's the big event movie that pays that off. Solo Autobot Decepticon stories, and then the big event movie which can just be called Transformers. So, phase 1, you could say, would be Bumblebee, Bumblebee 2, Optimus Prime, the Cybertron prequel, and then it all builds up to Transformers, the big story, the big battle on Earth. So phase 1 can just be setting up all your Transformers characters, and you can slowly introduce Megatron, build on that threat. And the big event movie can utilize a massive threat and done right, i.e. Devastator or Trypticon. That's the big antagonist of the movie. And now we can put more specific focus on things like triple changes and combiners, not just have them do these things at the last minute just because. Even Dropkick and Shatter have specific vehicle modes when they land on Earth, and then when they scan the aircraft, their bodies incorporate aircraft parts with muscle car parts. So it's a building thing, it's a continuity thing, it's not just because. See how exciting this is? We can now start taking things from the lore and actually giving them the focus needed. Not just pluck something from Transformers canon and make it mean something else, and then forget what it does when you need it to do something else again. For example, the Bayverse version of the Matrix of Leadership. You know how in the canon,
I offer a portion of my spark to take with you to the stars. For as long as it survives, so shall I. Will you accept this responsibility, Optimus Prime?
I will.
Behold, the Matrix of Leadership. Cybertron recognizes and welcomes Optimus Prime, Keeper of the Matrix. leader of the free Autobots.
And then in the movie, it's a key to turn on a machine that kills the sun. And then in the next movie, it's just a thing to bring back dead Transformers. And it's awkwardly passed back to Sentinel Prime, and then back to Optimus, and then it's never seen again. And now it can have the significance it used to have. So for the first time in the Transformers live action series, we can actually invest in continuity and building on characters. In the first series, you have characters who return, mostly because they're too iconic to just get rid of, such as Optimus, Bumblebee, Megatron, Starscream. But most of the time, characters would just get killed off, and then they would recycle their 3D model in another film, just because. Now, I can acknowledge in the original G1 toy line, there's a lot of taking the same toy, recoloring it, and calling it a new character. But that's fine for a toy line, and when you recolor Bumblebee red and call him Cliffjumper, there's an actual new character there. And countless cartoons and comic books can prove there's a difference in character and not just he's a red Bumblebee. In a movie narrative, you have the first Transformer introduction with Blackout, and then the rotor blades become like a cape, and yeah, a very specific design. These soldiers know it, so when Lennox has this look at the end, it's earned because of the opening scene. Then it's defeated, and the day is won. But then it's just back in the next movie. No story explanation, no indication of if it's the same character just resurrected. No, it's just another one. But the toy line called him something different to avoid confusion, I guess. But going off of Blackout, the rest of the Bayverse would employ this aesthetic of just recycling robots just to fill a frame, regardless of story reasons. Robots that you saw die are just back. Bone Crusher gets his head ripped off, shows up in Egypt. Long Hole is blown up in the second movie, and then he's just back hanging out in the third movie. See, this is why these movies are forgettable, because anything just happens with any character for any reason. Runtime 3 hours. Even robots that have a bit more character than your average Michael Bay Shockwave, you see them die in 3, one comes back in 4, and then the other one comes back in 5 without the other one from 4 when they both should be dead. Now, something similar in Bumblebee is that there's essentially a bunch of recolored Blitzwing models in the opening scene. However, what stops that from just being a cheap way to fill the screen? It actually makes sense because in Transformers there is a faction of flying Decepticons called Seekers, and they all share that body design. So it's actually something that connects to the lore rather than repainting a robot for robot's sake. So thankfully, the time of zero interest in continuity and fan culture is over. We can start building on what's been established in this new Bumblebee movie. And something that is very odd about Blitzwing is that he is very G1 in so many ways, but not from the actual Blitzwing. He doesn't share any of the design, nor does he triple change, which brings some confusion as to why Blitzwing was his official title, when he could have easily just been called Ramjet and it would be fine. Matches the right color scheme as well. But what I said before about building on characters, I came up with a way that you could bring back Blitzwing and would get him closer to his traditional G1 counterpart, as well as a fan favorite version from another cartoon run. So the thing about the Bumblebee villains is they have an established character and an original character who are both triple changers, and the only one who's from the lore who is a triple changer isn't one. But there's sort of a way to bring them together. With the new Sector 7 of this franchise can take more effect rather than just showing up in the first movie and then never again. Sector 7 can take the destroyed bodies of all three and try to Frankenstein their own Transformer. Having a robot with 2 alt modes is very advantageous in battle. You just swap out the muscle car with a tank. So Blitzwing can be the main robot they work on with the triple changer technology from Dropkick and Shatter. That's just giving Blitzwing the triple changer technology. Another addition is giving him a new personality. More specifically, the Transformers animated multiple personality.
As usual, Black Arachnia, your demeanor is as unpleasant as that accursed organic mode of yours.
Blow it out your actuator, Three-Face.
The name is Blitzwing, insect. Remember it, cause it's the last thing you're gonna hear before I express my feelings in song. The itsy bitsy spider crawl.
You wanna battle it out here and now, Blitzwing?
There's even a Blitzwing movie toy that has the option to flip out the regular head with the animated random head. So in merging Dropkick and Shatter into Blitzwing's body, there can be this fun dynamic of all 3 conflicting personalities in the one head. So you have the main Blitzwing personality that serves as the hothead Blitzwing, Shatter can be the icy cold calculating Blitzwing, and seeing as Dropkick was a bit of a psycho, he can have his brain scrambled even more and he becomes the Blitzwing random face.
Tell me where your friends are hiding.
I'll never talk.
Is that right?
You're a brave warrior. You deserve a better death.
Humiliating.
So with fixes like that, this movie can just build on established characters rather than just getting rid of them for every movie. Also, it can give an opportunity to have characters develop their way into being their traditional versions. We don't have to have an inaccurate Blitzwing, then move on. You can actually become both versions of popular Blitzwings eventually. Also, Transformers Animated Blitzwing is just wonderful.
Maybe I should clean out your audio receptors with my fists. I didn't hear anything.
Except that.
Alright, new universe, new character adaptations. Drop a comment, who do you want to see in the new Nightverse? Since Soundwave is one of my favourite characters, I'm already on board to see more of that representation. Jazz is another great character I want to see make a better return in style. I am so stoked that Michael Bay never touched Ultra Magnus, and he's one I'd like to see a good representation of. And all I'm going to say is, Ryan Reynolds for Hot Rod. Like the real Hot Rod, not this. This can die.
Hot Rod.
That's red.
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod. It's his French accent.
Is he French?
No, he just likes the accent.
No. I hate the accent. But I can get rid of it. I'm stuck with the accent.